Okay, welcome to the second session of the day. We will invite Bruno Brito to come here with us. He will be presenting his work, which title is Enhancing Water Safety in Porto, Integrating Risk Assessment and Major Strategic Projects. Bruno is currently the water supply manager at Aguas y Energía do Porto. He is responsible for the maintenance and operation of the City of Porto's water supply system, and he holds a master's degree in biological engineering and recently completed a postgraduate degree in business administration. Well, thank you, Bruno.
First of all, thank you for the invitation. And I'm here to show you a little what is the water safety plan in Porto and show our strategy. As a preview, in Porto we have 353 utilities, but only 20% are safety plan. This data is for 2022 and is regulated by our site. But what is Porto? Porto is a city of Portugal. Porto has a deep historical and a cultural connection with water. A long river, the Royal River, along all the city, and have a coastline of 3.5 kilometers. Besides that, Porto has several internal rivers and coastal rivers. Another contrast. The city is the second largest city in Porto, with a population of over 1 million persons. These persons, they're not customers at all. We have a very long tourist and facing a challenge in the
No, yes. Sorry everyone. Oh. Where are you? And we are committed to sustainability and resilience, constantly seeking innovation solutions to guarantee water security for our growing population. But now, what is or what are our business model? The Águas e Energia do Porto, it's a utility with all urban water cycle. But beside that, in the 2021, we achieved also também the energy. So, we believe this synergistic approach where water and energy management are closely linked to achieve sustainability and resilience, and our commitment extends to the SD goals, and we strive to implement solutions that benefit both the community and the environment. As I have said, all the urban cycle of water, we have since water, environmental education, stormwater, beaches, streams, energy, wastewaters too, and wastewater treatment plants. We have all the cycle. It's a long work for us, but we show our commitment with our key figures or our indicators. We have a small extension of network, 81 kilometers, but we have 150,000 of number of customers. We have achieved also a non-revenue water of 3.28%, which is a good mark in Portugal. We achieved these numbers since 2006 to 2023. And this only can achieved by the 5 vectors of actions. We work essentially in safety, resilience, quality, efficiency, and sustainability. When we talk about safety, we talk about our water safety plan, and also the emergency communication plan. When we talk about resilience, it's our plan or water plan director. Quality, we have a lab that works for us. It's inside our company. What permits that we have control of all parameters of the water. We also each installed online control in our reservoirs. Efficiency. We can talk about our non-renew program that also achieved the values of the have you seen before. But what is the water supply system? What is the water safety plan? What is your risk strategy and the emergency response? Our water safety plan involves 4 major projects. As I have said, the water supply master plan, the alternative supply plan, the water supply contingency plan, and also the emergency communication plan. These 4 projects allow us to maintain our focus and also work for the city. The master plan and the alternative supply plan, it's a strategic plan and asset management. The water supply contingency plans and the emergency communication, it's plans to emergency response. Nowadays, we have the water supply master plan in final phase, and we'll start the alternative supply plan. But where we begin in the water safety plan? Our water safety plan has 10 years, and our first steps, or baby steps, was our Port Tap Water campaign. This campaign promotes tap water consumption as a safe, healthy, and sustainable alternative. Through communication, education, and community engagement, we have increased public confidence in tap water quality and reduced bottled water consumption. Okay. Then, in 2015, we launched or implemented some of actions in the campaign, and also made our first presentation of water safety plan as the first audit at the same. The primary goal of our water safety plan is protect public health by ensuring the safety and acceptability of the water we provide. We focus on both water quality and quantity, ensuring it's free from contaminants and available in sufficient volumes to meet the community needs. We strive to build public trust and confidence in tap water, making it the preferred choice of everyone. But the scope of the water safety plan goes from catchment to consumer's tap. In our case, the city of Porto buys the water, so we just act since the supply delivery point to the consumer's tap. So our water safety plan is just applied in this system. In terms of methodology, in Porto, we follow the World Health Organization guidelines, so the water safety plan is never completed. It follows a circle of preparation, implementation, revision, and novamente a preparation, implementation, and revision. It's a no-end work. we start this in 2015, and our first revision was in 2020. The water safety plan proactively identifies potential hazards that could affect our system. We can talk about natural disasters, cyber attacks, equipment failures, pipe leaks, monitoring system failures. And by these hazard events, we mean any kind of event that may interfere the water supply system in terms of quality or quantity. By recognizing these threats, we can separate this in quantity and quality. And quantity, we can speak about water shortage, high pressure, flood water loss, or quality, microbiological contamination, or physical and chemical contamination. After 2015, we start our implementation. We implemented some actions in our system, in our installations, infrastructures, and there was 3 years of this work. Then, in 2029, we start on our first revision. By the first revision, or by the implementation in the 2015 to 2051, we have improved some of actions and some of analysis. The comparison between 2015 and the 2021 revisions demonstrates the evaluation of water safety plan. The 2021 revision involved a more comprehensive assessment, resulting in a significant increase and identified critical points. But we don't need a safety plan to be in the armário. Whatever. I will get. We view the water safety plan as a dynamic and practical tool that guides us our operations and asset management. It is not simple, a procedural document, but a living framework that helps us to prioritize investments and optimize process and enhance water safety. Here we have this analysis. Based on our risk assessment, we have identified 174 improvement actions to further enhance water safety. These actions are prioritized based on their urgency and potential impact. This is our system of revision, basic monitoring, advanced monitoring of the water safety plan. But the water safety plan just works if you have a plan of communication, a strategy of communication with the people. So we enhanced communication, we create an image to communicate with our customers that would help us to say that we have a new water safety plan and the water is safe. This is a very important step of implementation a water safety plan. Besides that, in 2021, also all of us know the COVID and all, and we need to advance with a plan of contingency to solve several problems. We are a company that works 7/7, 24 hours, so we need to assure that the customers maintain the water. And in this case, we have prioritization enabled a responsible and resource-compatible approach during the most challenging phase of lockdown, when resources were scarce and many services were postponed or suspended. This was a high valuable learning experience that was incorporated into ongoing water safety plan. In 2021, we have the integration of the water safety plan, and the emergency communication plan concluded, and started with the water supply master. This. In the first revision of our water safety plan marked a significant step in our continuous improvement journey. It allows us to refine our risk assessment and identify areas of improvement and implement target actions to enhance water safety. The emergency communication plan ensures a swift and effective response to any water supply disruption, safeguarding public health and minimizing inconveniences. In 2022, our regularity starts the risk assessment mandatory, and we made to the first revision of emergency communication plan. 2023, well, we start the year with a new step, exactly, completely off. We have suffered a cyber attack. Our first day was, well, nothing works. We don't know what happened. We don't know nothing. The system, water system, nothing. The public consumers, nothing, completely in dark. It took a few days to regain access to the management systems and restore normally, but little by little we managed to return to normal. With this, we start to go on. It's a business continuity plan that allows us to keep going the system. And after, in 2024, we will finish, or we just finished the water supply master plan and start another revision of emergency communication plan. The alternative supply plan will go start now. So, what is the water supply master plan? It's a rolling plan to improve the efficiency of the water supply system and ensure its capacity to respond to all requests at any time or events of internal and external context. We work here in the MAs, pressures, quality of water. This water supply master plan allows us to know the city or the water supply system the best way we can. This is some examples of the technical nodes we get. The ongoing projects, just as I said, the emergency communication plan and the alternative supply plan. This alternative supply plan is a source to focus on the objective always have redundancy in the water supply system. And then 2025, just to finish, just to tell what we want. We want to make the second revision of water safety plan that involves wrap up some situations. Public health protection, changing the image of ADP, keeping internal knowledge and experience. We have several steps here. Water safety plan.
Rounding up.
Just last slide. Sorry. Water safety plan and 4 strategic projects that stand out allow us to root in the insights of the water safety, guided by its risk assessment, represent proactive measures to clear demonstration of the utilities' commitment to agility, responsiveness, and risk mitigation. But the only purpose that we have is safe water. We want to assure that the customers have safe water and trust in us. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruno. Maybe we have time just for one question from the audience. Okay. In here.
Sí.
Espera que te alcanzan el micrófono por la traductora.
Vale. Hola. ¿Está prendido o no? ¿Sí? Ustedes son responsables no son responsables por la parte de tratamiento, captación y tratamiento.
De captación no.
Ellos tienen también un plan de seguridad del agua.
Ujú, sí, también.
Y tiene que ser de alguna vez trabajar juntos.
Ujú, sí.
Además de hacer un plan para ustedes, tienen que... Como que se puede partir un plan de seguridad del agua, se puede partir en sus componentes. Podría, si son distintos responsables. No sé si es...
In this case, the water safety plans are completely separated, but they tell us what they do, and us tell what we do about the supplier points. It's not completely separated, but it's a way to assure that we get the safe water.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bruno. Nice. Okay. Okay, we will continue with this session. Now we will be with Philip de Souza. Are you there, Philip? Philip is the Global Lead Water Safety Planning at Atom Consulting and is based in Sydney, Australia. He's a professionally registered engineer who has more than 20 years of experience with water supply and sanitation service in local government, benchmarking, water treatment, water quality management, and associated risk management. Philip has a Bachelor Chemical Engineering degree from the University of Cape Town at an honors degree cum laude in water utilization and engineering for the University of Pretoria. He's a fellow of the International Water Association and the current co-chair of the IWA Water Safety Planning Specialist Group. And he also formed part of the WHO Global Panel of Water Safety Planning, Trainer of Trainers. Philip?
Thank you, Chair. There we go. Okay. Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you all had a good lunch. So quickly, I'm just going to give some context, some background, and then we're going to look at water safety planning, basically in South Africa and my experience in New South Wales in Australia. So New South Wales is one of the states, and the different states have different ways of doing things. So same, but different. And what can we learn from these two countries? So about 6 months ago, I moved from Cape Town to Australia. If you look at where it is on the map, you can see it's all in a kind of a straight line. So same but different. Montevideo is also there on the same straight line. Same but different. And that made me start to think, as soon as I started to work in Australia, I don't know if anybody here has traveled to Thailand. If you go to Thailand and you want to go buy a t-shirt in a shop and you see the t-shirt in black with a design on it and you say, but I really want that t-shirt in blue, they'll go to the back and they bring you a t-shirt in blue but with a different design, and then they say to you, same but different. Okay, so that's pretty much what water safety planning should be like. Is the World Health Organization, IWA, make the guidelines for us to utilize, but we need to adapt that to our country's situation. You need to consider, can I just copy and paste it, adopt, or must I adapt it for my country? So here's my disclaimer. I've only been in Australia for 6 months, so I'm not an expert yet on Australia, and I am largely working in one states, being New South Wales. If you have listened to Ahsoka, he's from Victoria. They think they're much better than New South Wales. Maybe they are in some aspects, maybe they aren't in other aspects. So this is not a comprehensive analysis. It's just to try and give you some ideas, to share some of what I have learned Having worked in the sector for about 20 years, you're never too old to learn something new. So this is not South Africa versus Australia. In rugby, we all know what would happen there. I'm not trying to say that one country is better than the other country, but I'm trying to show you what the circumstances are in those countries and how they have used water safety planning. So let's look at a bit of a context of the two different countries. If you look, Australia is actually the 6th largest country in the world. It's big. So they've got a huge area, but most of the population is concentrated on the coastline. So you've got big open spaces in the middle. If you look at the population, South Africa has a much higher population than Australia, but obviously Australia's got this more space, more dense on the coasts. GDP per capita, Australia is much higher. Unemployment rate, much lower than South Africa. And if you look also at the life expectancy, higher. So in other words, it's showing that South Africa is more maybe of a developing country nature versus Australia more of a developed country nature. So where did South Africa start with their water safety planning? It was around 2008 that we started with water safety planning in South Africa, and came about due to our South African National Standards of Drinking Water 241, which said that you shall do a water safety plan, and that launched water safety planning in the country. You may recall 2010 Soccer World Cup came to South Africa also. There was a big push. The whole world was going to come to South Africa, and we've said that our drinking water, if you open up the tap, you can drink the water. We weren't actually sure at that stage if you could do that. So we started to implement water safety planning in major metropolitan areas that people were going to travel to, and that's how drinking water safety planning started. We then started with the Blue Drop, and some of you might have heard of this, Blue Drop and Green Drop, which is an incentive-based regulatory system that the regulator implemented. So it's not a audit, what I call a German audit, like very harsh audit. It's a consultative audit where you try and help the utility to become better. And the rules that are followed are pretty much, in water safety planning terms, very much like the WHO guidelines. So there was a lot of progress in Blue Drop and Green Drop. Green Drop is the wastewater system, and then it stopped for almost 10 years. Politics, that's all we're going to say, but they restarted in 2022 again, and you can see there that a lot of momentum had been lost in water safety planning in the country. So there was a lot of systems where, if you look over there, you don't have, only 9% had comprehensive water safety plans in place. Only 13% were implementing the findings from water safety planning. So it was just a paper document for a lot of them because the regulator hadn't been following up. And you can see from the Blue Drop 2023 report, there you can see there 46% unacceptable microbiological water quality. So quite a few municipalities, I wouldn't open the tap and just drink the water. Okay. Let's look at Australia. They've got the Australian Drinking Water Guidelines, which includes a framework for the management of drinking water quality. It's got 12 elements. So if you know the water safety plan, 12 elements similar to the 10 steps. And it's got a preventative risk management approach. Different states have got kind of different in-between rules, so you need to be aware of that. Within New South Wales, the Public Health Act says that they need a quality assurance program, which is essentially like a water safety plan, and they call it a drinking water management system. Now, I was surprised when I was reading through some documents, and these are some of the challenges that they show within New South Wales in terms of local water utilities. Any country in the world would probably have very similar challenges. So South Africa has these challenges too, but at a different scale. So climate change, we don't have enough people, we don't have the right skills, our assets are degrading, we don't have enough finances. These are universal challenges that I think water utilities around the world have. But what makes Australia, I think, different to South Africa is that if you understand the Pareto principle, 80-20 rule, most of you hopefully would have come across that. I think Australia has already tackled 80% of the problem, whereas South Africa hasn't tackled 80% of the problem. So Australia are now refining, so they're working hard at refining. They have to put in a lot more money and all of that to refine that problem, whereas I think South Africa is still on that upward kind of curve. Okay, so if we all remember what the 10 steps are of water safety planning, I'm going to share some of the lessons that I have learned from working in both countries. So I'm going to look at the 10 steps, and the first one is obviously about the team. Now, this to me is an indication of the maturity of the country or the maturity of the utility. So perhaps if you're sitting here in the audience and you are from a utility, ask yourself, where are you on this scale? Are you unaware? Are you coming to this conference to learn about water safety planning? Or are you aware of water safety planning, but you're not quite sure how to do it? Step 3, are you working hard at water safety planning, but it's not easy? I always need to go back to the guideline document, try and understand what is going on. Is it a habit already? Oh, this water safety planning thing is okay, I understand what it's all about. The challenge with it, when it's a habit, is that you forget the purpose. And I liked what the speaker from Porto said now around the fact that it's all about providing safe water. Sometimes we forget what that purpose is at the end of the day. And then the last step is step 5, where you're at your mastery level. So, and that's like a Jedi Knight, you know, in Star Wars, you know, you're a master of your art. So, very much when I look at where South Africa are, there's a few utilities that might be at the habit and mastery level, but most of the utilities are still at the practice level. And that's maybe different to what I've seen in some of the utilities in Australia. This is when you describe the water supply system. So you can see this is a process flow diagram that you need to draw, a lot more technical in Australia than what I was used to us developing in South Africa. And you can see they include things like critical control points, all those little red dots, know exactly where we need to be controlling everything. Step 3 and 4, so that's identifying hazards and doing your risk assessment. Both South Africa and Australia do a 2-step risk assessment. That means you've got a raw risk and then a residual risk. Why I like that method personally is because it emphasizes the importance of existing control measures that you have in place. So that's in particular very important for a country like South Africa where we've already paid money for something. We don't have to invest in maintaining that existing control measure, which we all know is not the truth. In South Africa, I've found that it's more essential to have a site visit so you can actually see what has gone wrong or is going wrong, because also the process controller or operator might not actually know what is wrong. He thinks there's something wrong, but he's not quite sure. Versus in Australia, it's more of they are quite mature already, so they actually volunteer things that are wrong. In New South Wales, you need to do a risk assessment every 4 years. South Africa was once a year. But the regulator needs to participate in that risk assessment, which also gives the regulator a first idea as to what actually might go wrong in that area. This is just from my organization. The way that they do a risk assessment is they use this bow tie analysis. So you might know this from chemical engineering, where you've basically got the hazard and hazardous events in the middle, and then you've got barriers to the upstream barriers and downstream barriers. And this is a good visual way of identifying, do you have sufficient control of your systems upstream and downstream? Are they good? So, the greens, are they good or are they poor? Do you need to strengthen some of your control measures? Step 5, implementation plan. In South Africa, they started to look at, because you've got a lot of systems where it's the same manager who's looking after drinking water and wastewater, starting to look at integrating those systems. In New South Wales, Australia, they've got monthly water quality meetings, which are pretty good in terms of trying to make sure that you are identifying issues early. So it's almost like an early warning system. And they track incidents and exceptions a lot more closely. Step 6 and 7, which is all about monitoring. Obviously, South Africa has got their Blue Drop certification program where they need to report to the regulator, and they need to upload that information to an information system called IRIS. In New South Wales, there's a bigger emphasis on operational monitoring using critical control points and online SCADA systems which alert them to immediate failures. They also need to let the regulator know if there's exceedance of these critical points, so that's very good. Again, data goes and lives on a database, and then you also have auditing that happens, in particular a readiness audit, so almost like an internal audit to make sure that you are ready for an external audit. Step 8, in terms of procedures, New South Wales, you need to do an annual incident scenario exercise, so that's a desktop exercise where you get the regulator involved again. You run through a scenario. What happens if we had an algae incident? What happens if we had an E. coli failure? And then everybody understands their various roles and responsibilities. In terms of step 10, which is around reviewing our plan, both of them you need to have an annual update. In South Africa, we found that if you do not sign off the water safety plan, so top management, if they don't sign it off, little gets implemented. But as soon as you get the boss to sign off that these are the risks, then the money starts flowing. So that's important for everybody to note. Okay, so you need to ask yourself, is your foundation strong? And is your team all aligned, and are they all working towards the same goal? So I'll end that note on another rugby thing. So you may or may not follow rugby, probably more football in South America. But if you do follow rugby, Argentina beat the All Blacks the other day, that was good. You would have noticed that South Africa won the World Cup in 2023, and to win the World Cup, they had three games in a row where they won by 1 point. So 3 weeks in a row, 28, 29, 15, 16, 11, 12. To do that, it's not only that technical team, the players, but it's also the management, the support guys behind, the physios, the coaches, all of those. Because this is not only a physical sport, it's also a mental sport to win 3 games in a row by 1 point. So the point is that you all need to work together as a team if you want to achieve something. If I look at this photo, this is a team photo, this is them busy practicing. What do you notice? Everyone's wearing the same uniform. They're smiling, they're enjoying their job, they're working together. You see they're helping each other. There's ones with a resistance band, making them stronger. But the biggest thing to me on this entire picture is this guy here. He's the captain, Siya Kolisi. You see his knee there. It's all bandaged up. This is in the middle of the World Cup. His knee's buggered. He's not having a good time. They still won the World Cup. Because a lot of the times it's not about being perfect, but it's about continuously working hard to try and achieve something. We know water safety planning and water supply systems, it's never going to be perfect. You're never going to have all of the right people, all of the money that you need, but you can still perhaps make sure that you supply safe water to everyone. And that's that. Thank you.
Thanks, Philip, for your presentation. If there's someone that want to ask something, we have time for one question. Someone of the audience? You can reflect something because we have at the beginning the presentation of Porto. Maybe you can use the time to make a little comparison between.
No pressure, on the spot comparison. What I noticed when I saw the Porto presentation, that the 10-year little wave, is do you see how something happened and then they improved the system. So it was a little incident and then, oh, we need to have a business continuity plan. So sometimes these negative things that happen in our lives, my knee getting busted up, actually makes you stronger. But it's all up to us to make sure that we are taking those next steps. Because we could have had an incident and just ignore that incident, or it'll never happen to us again. But we had a cyber attack, and now all of a sudden, we put in plans to make sure that that never happens again. So the point is, things can go wrong. We all know things can go wrong. It's how you react to it that's the deciding factor, I think, in terms of being successful.
Okay, thanks, Philip.
Thank you.
Okay, now we will invite Sandra Rodriguez. Sandra is the Division Manager of the Water and Sanitation Area at the Regulatory Management of URSEA. She's a civil engineer specialized in environmental hydraulics. She's also a specialist in environmental management from the Polytechnic University of Madrid. She has a master's degree in economics and regulation of public services from the University of Barcelona, and a master's degree in public management and in administration from the International University of La Rioja. She has extensive experience in the water sector through her work in the public sector, in the areas of regulation and supervision at URSEA, in the sanitation division of the City Hall, in the project development directorate of the Planning and Budget Office of Presidency of Uruguay, and in the hydroelectric generation management of the state company UTE. Sandra will present Water Safety Plans Regulation, the role of URSEA.
Gracias. Buenas tardes a todos. Vamos a presentar sobre el rol que tiene y ha tenido URSEA en el marco de la reglamentación de planes de seguridad del agua en Uruguay. A modo de introducción, vamos a presentar a la URSEA. Somos una unidad reguladora con competencia multisectorial en el área de energía, agua y saneamiento, concretamente en el área de agua potable. Las competencias son las referidas a la adducción y distribución del agua potable a través de redes en forma regular o permanente, siempre que se destine a terceros, y la producción de agua potable entendida como la captación y tratamiento de agua cruda y su posterior almacenamiento en cuanto su objeto sea la posterior distribución. En cuanto a saneamiento, también las competencias referidas a la recolección de aguas servidas a través de redes, la evacuación de estas y su tratamiento en cuanto sean prestados total o parcialmente a terceros en forma regular o permanente. En materia tarifaria debemos realizar informes preceptivos previos a la aprobación de los incrementos tarifarios por parte del Poder Ejecutivo. También realizamos pronunciamiento ante presentación de reclamos de usuarios en segunda instancia que hayan sido en primera instancia presentados ante el prestador y no hayan sido resueltos a conformidad del reclamante. Una síntesis del marco normativo e institucional, la prestación del servicio a cargo de la empresa estatal OCE, creada en el año 1952, que tiene a cargo el servicio de agua potable en todo el país a través de redes y de saneamiento en todo el país, excepto el departamento de Montevideo. Algo a destacar que en el año 2004, mediante plebiscito se reformó el artículo 47 de la Constitución de la República. En el mismo se declaró que el acceso al agua potable y el acceso al saneamiento constituyen derechos humanos fundamentales. y se estableció que el servicio de agua potable y saneamiento y el servicio público de abastecimiento para consumo humano sean prestados exclusiva y directamente por personas jurídicas estatales. Si bien la empresa estatal existía desde 1952, a ese momento existían 2 zonas concesionadas que debieron cesar en el año 2004 después de esta reforma. El Ministerio de Ambiente, a través de su Dirección Nacional de Aguas, es el organismo rector que tiene a cargo la definición de las políticas del sector. Alguna normativa a destacar, muy relacionada con los planes de seguridad del agua, el decreto 375 del 2011, que actualizó la norma de calidad de agua potable, que estaba contemplada en el Reglamento Bromatológico Nacional. En este decreto se incrementaron algunos parámetros a considerar en el agua para consumo humano y se definieron y adecuaron algunos valores máximos permitidos de algunos parámetros a considerar. En el año 2017 se aprobó el Plan Nacional de Aguas, impulsado entre otros por el Ministerio de Ambiente, y allí dentro del programa de agua para consumo humano se abordó la incorporación de la metodología de planes de seguridad del agua para la evaluación y gestión de riesgos relacionados con la calidad y cantidad de agua potable suministrada a comunidades. En cuanto al suministro de agua potable en Uruguay, bueno, en Uruguay somos 3,5 millones de habitantes y tenemos una cobertura a través de redes de 95% de agua potable, que en áreas urbanas llega al 99%. Este servicio, brindado por OCE, como habíamos comentado, se realiza a través de 500 sistemas de abastecimiento de agua potable, de los cuales 88 tienen más de 2.000 habitantes. Los demás tenemos toda la variedad desde decenas, sistemas que atienden a decenas de habitantes, nada más, hasta grandes sistemas como el Montevideo Área Metropolitana, del orden de 1.800.000. En cobertura de saneamiento a través de redes estamos en promedio país en 64%, con una mayor cobertura en el departamento de Montevideo. Pasamos ahora sí a lo que es el reglamento de planes de seguridad del agua, que se abordó por parte de URSEA, con el convencimiento que bueno, es la forma más eficaz de garantizar sistemáticamente la seguridad de un sistema de abastecimiento de agua para consumo, con este enfoque de gestión de riesgos recomendado por el OMS y alineados con lo que son los ODS, especialmente el ODS 6. ¿Cuáles eran los antecedentes al 2018, que fue cuando se aprobó el reglamento? Pero sí, obviamente comenzó a trabajarse un tiempo antes con una cooperación CAF y contamos con el valioso aporte del consultor José Manuel Vieira, experto en la temática, y la situación a nivel mundial a ese momento era que en 76 países estaban implementando planes de seguridad del agua, algunos a nivel piloto, otros en sistemas más grandes. En Uruguay, OCE ya en el año 2012 había implantado un plan de seguridad del agua piloto en una localidad del interior del país y posteriormente, previo al 2018, continuó trabajando de forma muy proactiva en la implantación de otros sistemas de abastecimiento, implantando planes de seguridad del agua. O sea, que a nivel país, dentro del sector agua potable, había un convencimiento de parte del prestador, de parte del regulador y, como comentamos, también de parte del Ministerio de Ambiente, quien tenía cargo de las políticas, ya que lo había previsto en su Plan Nacional de Aguas. O sea que estábamos alineados en esta concepción de implantación de planes de seguridad del agua. ¿Cuál es el objeto y el alcance del reglamento URSEA? Bueno, establece los requisitos y obligaciones de los prestadores, en este caso OCE, para elaborar e implementar los planes de seguridad del agua, de acuerdo con las recomendaciones del OMS, basándose en el manual de IWA y OMS. Bueno, se establecen los requisitos y la obligatoriedad de implantar de forma progresiva en todos los sistemas de abastecimiento de agua del país, para las localidades de más de 2.000 habitantes con ciertas características y documentación más general para las menores. Bueno, los componentes fundamentales son los previstos en la metodología, plantearse la evaluación del sistema, considerando todas las etapas de descripción del sistema, identificación de peligros, amenazas, evaluación de riesgos, la determinación y la validación de las medidas de control, la elaboración de planes de mejora. Luego el monitoreo operativo con el fin de garantizar que funcionan las barreras múltiples que se hayan implantado, el monitoreo de esas medidas de control y la verificación de eficacia. La gestión y comunicación, un punto bien importante que se debe contemplar en los procedimientos de gestión, en los planes de contingencia y en los planes complementarios. Y la revisión y mejora, se debe planificar y realizar los exámenes periódicos necesarios y las revisiones tras algún incidente. Así como bueno, el control de la calidad del agua bruta y la consideración de alertas y comunicaciones de eventos. Nos interesa hacer hincapié en lo que es la verificación del plan de seguridad del agua. Bueno, la empresa debe realizar su monitoreo de verificación, la evaluación de la satisfacción de los consumidores y está previsto también en el reglamento que el prestador realice sus auditorías internas en los sistemas más grandes con periodicidad anual, inspecciones sanitarias anuales en los sistemas más pequeños y el regulador realiza auditorías externas. Bueno, ¿cuál fue la cronología de este proyecto de reglamento? En el año 2018 se aprobó en marzo, es una resolución URSEA. A diciembre de 2018 se deberían presentar los documentos de los planes implantados a esa fecha y un cronograma de implantación progresiva hasta el 2025. Hacia el 2020 debían estar implantados en el 25% de los sistemas con más de 2.000 habitantes, deben estar implantados planes de seguridad del agua, lo cual se cumplió. Y en el reglamento se establecían 4 sistemas prioritarios en los que se debía implantar, que eran sistemas en los que se había dado, de cierta envergadura, y se habían dado algunos eventos de alteración de la calidad distribuida o eventos que habían provocado alarma en la población. Al 2025 está previsto que en el 60% de los sistemas se hayan implantado planes de seguridad del agua y el cronograma que fue presentado en 2018 contemplaba esto. Y bueno, el objetivo muy ambicioso de que al 2030 se haya universalizado la implantación en todos los sistemas del país. Bueno, ¿cómo vamos? ¿Cómo se ha evolucionado? Bueno, venimos bien. Hemos tenido varios escollos, pandemia mediante, sequía, alguna inundación. Bueno, tenemos implantados a fin de 2023 155 sistemas y esa totalidad de sistemas abastecen aproximadamente al 85% de la población. Se han realizado auditorías internas por parte de OCE, fueron 17 auditorías en 16 sistemas entre 2018 y 2023. No se ha evidenciado la realización de inspecciones sanitarias a la fecha. Entonces, bueno, frente a eso, comentar que el prestador deberá desarrollar las estrategias necesarias para que pueda cumplir el reglamento en este sentido. En cuanto a auditorías externas, URSEA ha realizado entre 2022 y 2024 ha auditado 7 sistemas. En todos los casos que se plantean auditorías externas, siempre son a sistemas que hayan sido auditados internamente por parte del prestador. un sistema muy grande que interesa auditarse, pero no se ha podido abordar porque internamente no ha podido abordar la auditoría interna OCE, es el de Montevideo y área metropolitana, pero sí se tuvo algún intercambio en relación con la revisión de los planes de contingencia luego de eventos extremos. Bueno, ¿cuál es la metodología de las auditorías externas? Bueno, la evaluación del cumplimiento por parte del prestador de todos los requisitos relacionados con el enfoque de gestión preventiva de riesgos. ¿Sí? Bueno, ¿qué hemos encontrado? ¿Qué vale la pena comentar de las auditorías externas que se han realizado? Bueno, como factor común, los comentarios que siguen. En todos los casos se contó con muy buena disposición de los equipos auditados, gran compromiso y abiertos a la identificación de mejoras y a llevar adelante las mejoras que se puedan realizar. Se valora la actualización de los planes de contingencia luego de la ocurrencia de eventos climáticos. En algunos de los sistemas auditados sufrieron la sequía 2023, eventos de crecida a inicios de 2024 y bueno, proactivamente se están revisando los planes de emergencia relativos a esos eventos. Bueno, en general se evidencia que el monitoreo de verificación se ha planificado y se ha ejecutado y se verifica un alto cumplimiento de la calidad del agua en general. Como principales hallazgos, bueno, la necesidad de revisión periódica de los planes. En general se ha identificado que no se han actualizado desde la implantación original, algunos desde 2018, bueno, sistematizar esas revisiones. La profundización en el conocimiento de las cuencas, en los caudales de aporto, la necesidad de la profundización en la evaluación de la satisfacción de los clientes, un mayor seguimiento a los planes de mejora que se han definido y la inclusión de planes de comunicación en todos los planes de emergencia. Bueno, nosotros realizamos los informes correspondientes una vez realizadas las auditorías externas, describiendo los hallazgos. Luego de ello, el prestador presenta los proyectos o medidas a tomar para considerar esos hallazgos, para resolverlos. Y bueno, nosotros le damos seguimiento a partir de los informes que nos presenten, mostrando la implementación y la eficacia, y también realizamos nuestros monitoreos. Históricamente nosotros llevamos a cabo un programa de vigilancia de la calidad del agua potable, que entre otros también nos permitirá, así como nos da insumos para las auditorías externas, también nos permitirá verificar la eficacia de algunos aspectos. Muchas gracias, quedamos a las órdenes.
Thank you, Sandra. We can have one or two questions.
Bueno, intento esto. Una pregunta era, primero muchas gracias y me pareció súper...
No te escucho, te llevan otro micrófono.
Ahora sí. Primero muchas gracias, Sandra, me pareció súper completa la presentación. tenía un par de preguntas como de actualización. Primero, la regulación incluye la publicación, por ejemplo, de los indicadores de gestión de las empresas. ¿Están a disposición del público, de la sociedad civil? ¿Eso se presenta periódicamente? Mi segunda pregunta era, ¿cómo es el estatus de la regulación con el saneamiento de Montevideo, por ejemplo, que está fuera de OCE, ¿no es cierto? Gracias.
Gracias, Jorge, por la pregunta. Bueno, en cuanto a indicadores de gestión, hoy en día, si bien nosotros recibimos sí datos y cálculo de algunos indicadores, no se están publicando. Sí, hacia fin del año pasado se aprobó un reglamento de calidad de agua potable y saneamiento y relaciones con los clientes. Ahí está definido un set de indicadores de gestión que va a tener que informar, que se van a tener que informar por parte de OCE los que correspondan y de la Intendencia los que les correspondan a ellos, de forma anual. Y está previsto que esa presentación sea progresiva. Un primer conjunto de indicadores va a ser de forma inmediata los que el prestador está en condiciones de calcular ya de forma inmediata, otro con un plazo intermedio y otro más a largo plazo. La idea es que una vez que se cuente con esos indicadores, se empiecen a publicar por parte del regulador. Y bueno, y en materia de saneamiento se abordan algunos aspectos en este reglamento que te comenté y es para cumplimiento general.
Thank you, Sandra.
Okay, we are continuing with the last part of this session. We are now receiving for this presentation. Sorry. The presentation is about operationalizing water safety plans, document to practice. The presenter is Asoka Hashalatne from Australia. Asoka is the water quality specialist at Yarra Valley Water in Melbourne, Australia. He holds a bachelor's degree in civil engineering and a master of engineering in water management. He is fellow of the Institution of Engineering Australia and a fellow of the Institution of Engineering Sri Lanka. Has been a member of the editorial committee of the Australian Water Association, Water e-Journal, and online hub for high-quality technical water papers in Australia. Has been working in the water industry for over 40 years. He has been with Yarra Valley Water since 1997. His main areas of expertise include development and implementation of drinking and recycled water risk management plans, water safety plans, implementation of the hazard analysis and critical control point (HACCP) system for the drinking water supply system since 1999. Development of strategies to improve water quality in the distribution system, routine water quality, monitor and maintenance programs such as water mains cleaning, reservoir cleaning, regulatory compliance, regulator and other stakeholder liaison, annual reports, special investigation, and staff and contractor training. Asoka, time is yours.
Thanks, Alejandro. Good afternoon, everyone. Apologies. When I wrote my bio, I didn't realize he's going to read the whole thing. Can you hear me? Yep. Yes, so before I start, I can assure you, Philip and I didn't exchange notes in these presentations, but you will see parallels and very complementary information there. I'm going to do this with not just my own presentation to show you, I guess, what happens at different stages of WSP implementation in different settings. So some of the Canadian colleagues kindly agreed to do this joint presentation, but I'm the only one here, so I have to talk on behalf of them as well. So I'll try to touch on some case studies from Australia and Canada. I guess my real focus of the presentation is operationalizing. What the hell that means, and also most important aspect for me, the paper that the WSP written is not worth at all if you're not doing it in the field, if you're not implementing. And I'll touch on some auditing, hopefully the time permits. This is my new phrase I've sort of developed, strength of collaboration beyond borders. It sounds like engineers without borders or something like that, but it is actually something I thought a conference like this, as well as you can have a lot of networking and working with others outside your organizations, that helps a lot to learn from each other. So the three Canadian colleagues who are joint authors of this presentation, obviously they are from Canada, from West and East. Ontario is the East state that has regulations in Canada. Australia, Victoria is always, I shouldn't say this, better than New South Wales. No, I'm just joking. Every state is different, so it's not a federal regulation and Safe Drinking Water Acts. But in Victoria, we have 22 water agencies, water utilities, all government-owned. We don't have any private water suppliers. Yarra Valley Water is one of the 3 retail water agencies in Melbourne, and we are the biggest. We supply pretty much maybe 75% of Uruguayan population, 2 million people. Melbourne has about 4 million population, so all Uruguay in Melbourne. But we have 3 water suppliers, right? And some statistics, but we have about 880,000 customers or connections. So Victoria is the first state in Australia to implement Safe Drinking Water Act. It's law. In theory, I can go to jail if I stuff up my job, right? The mechanism to implement the requirements in the Act is to have regulations much easier to change. Every 10 years, the regulations sunset. So the first regulation started in 2005, 2015. Next year, will be updated. We go through this regulatory updated process. So the regulations require every water supplier in Victoria to have what we call risk management plans, water safety plans. And Philip mentioned the Australian Drinking Water Guidelines. The entire country use the framework in the Drinking Water Guidelines. We are no exception. Why we're different slightly is, in 1999, a long time ago, the regulations didn't exist. There's no Safe Drinking Water Act. There's nothing in the WHO guidelines. Yarra Valley Water is one of the first water companies in the world to implement water safety plans, but by the way of hazard analysis and critical control points. We didn't know what hazard was. We learned from food industry, and we voluntarily applied it. We have a very matured hazard plan, and it was a piece of cake when the regulations, it became law, it was mandatory. It was very easy for us to move from HACCP to the risk management plan or the water safety plan. It's very complementary to the WSP manual, requirements in the WSP manual. I would say it's much more prescriptive. It's got 12 elements, 32 components, 76 actions, so we have to make sure we can tick, not in the paper, but we can demonstrate each of these are satisfied to be compliant to the regulations. In Canada, so federal government, they have overarching guidelines. So I'm just reading, because I'm not an expert on this. This is my colleagues' input. Very similar to Australia, they have separate regulations in their provinces, which is equal to the states in Victoria, I guess. Ontario is the only state that has a mandatory requirement, and they started that process in 2002, a little bit closer to what we did with Australia, I guess Victoria. And others do not require to have one, but most of them apparently have voluntarily adopted it, which is great. So they follow very similar things. The Ontario systems, they have ISO certification for 9001, 14001. If you have those, it's very easy to develop a water safety plan. And they follow the HSEC has principles as well. So I'm not going to go through it. It's very similar to what's required in the water safety plan manual. Proactive, preventive approach to manage risks and provide safe water. They have an operational plan, and what they have done is they've developed what they call a drinking water quality management system, in other words, water safety plans. And they have 21 elements, so there's no one way to do water safety plans, and this is how they marry the water safety plans with their drinking water quality management system. I'm not going to go through all the details. There are 21 elements. If you actually read the categories and the details, they're no different to what's in the second edition of the Water Safety Plan Manual or our framework in Australia. Now, this is the important bit, message I'm trying to communicate. What is operationalizing mean? You need to say what you're going to do first. That is your water safety plan document. Must clearly say how we are going to manage the risk from catchment to tap, literally, right? And to do that, you need to have a document, risk assessed, go through all the steps that I'm not going to go through because you heard from many speakers what's in there. But you should be able to demonstrate, showing, here's how I do it, here's the evidence, here's the results, here's the data, here's the short-term analysis, here's the long-term analysis, here's the proof, right? And then one of the critical things is, I think you touched on it, Philip, management commitment, but not just management commitment from top to the bottom, right? From the managing director down to the people who work, the crews who work in the field, yeah, who work in the coal face. It's very important. If the crew doesn't know understand the risk to water quality when there's a water main burst, then water safety plan doesn't work. Incident and emergency management, we heard in many presentations, critical, right? Again, it's not in the document. You need to be ready. In fact, things go wrong all the time in the water industry, right? We deal with very old infrastructure. We deal with mechanical equipment, electrical equipment, pipes under pressure, right? Things go wrong. As long as you know what to do when that happens, and that's documented in the emergency response plans. Continuous improvement. Like, I can talk for probably 2 days. Like, if you ask me, what did Yarra Valley Water do from 1999, right? And we don't try to even write them, probably because it's not needed. It's included in the strategies and long-term, medium-term, short-term strategies. Second golden rule. You say what you do, but also do what you say. And that is the hardest thing to do, right? That is very hard, right? And I thank my colleagues in Canada who wrote this too. And I was thinking, what should we say to this audience about what does operationalizing means? And I sort of massaged it a little bit, but this is fantastic. Now, I think Bettina mentioned there's a lot of resistance to implementing water safety plans. This last point. This is a quote from our regulator a long time ago, our health regulator, right? Water safety plan is not extra work. If you do your work properly, it's very easy, but it's easier said than done. You have to do a lot of things to get there. And it's BAU. In our case, we don't really say, oh, what's in the water safety plan? You just do by default, right? But you have to come to that maturity with time. In Melbourne, it is a bit tricky. You have wholesaler, retailer. Wholesaler does the water, manages the catchments, storage, treatment. And then the retailers, we manage a massive network of distribution system plus the customer interface, right? So then there's a transferable risk. Do we blame each other? Absolutely not. We have processes in place. Collaboration is a nice word, but you have to practice it. So we have, again, proven approach to manage the transferable risk between the wholesaler and retailer. We have legal document. We have meetings, forums, I wouldn't say meetings, forums from managing director down to operator level happening at various intervals. It's ongoing. We don't have frequencies, right? We do it very regularly. We talked about any changes to the systems from wholesaler to retailer. There's a process that tells us, I want to change this source of supply or supply to this area by shutting a valve. You know what happens when you shut a valve, right? In the water supply, it can create taste and odor complaints, dirty water complaints, so there's processes like that. We have a comprehensive emergency management framework. We monitor in real time critical control points. And then there are, on the right-hand side, just an example of how that looks like. And this is practice, it's not just in that piece of paper. Within Yarra Valley Water, we do what we call a rolling risk assessment review. We don't just do once in 6 months, it's rolling, right? Every month you find something in various forums in here. We have these various forums. We meet regularly, and we look, it's all about continuous improvement, right? We talk with different teams who are responsible for different areas of the business, organization, people managing treatment operation. I meet with them separately because you don't need the whole team to be in one room and others not contributing. So that's how it is done. I need to speed up because I have too many slides. So what does the success look like? I guess these are some of the improvements that we have done. We developed probably one of the world, I would say best practice, a risk assessment tool to prioritize inspection and maintenance. You know, tanks are notoriously known for water quality incidents, including deaths. Recently we started using drones, risk-based water mains cleaning program, right? We don't clean all the 10,000 kilometers. We don't have money to clean all 10,000 kilometers every year, so we prioritize. Backflow prevention is something that doesn't exist in some places, unfortunately, but we take that very seriously. Nothing should come back, return to our system through the meter, so yes, comprehensive backflow prevention program. Training is a very difficult thing. You know, training can be done in different ways, but we really have a targeted training program at various levels. Managing directors, senior managers get one type of training, operators get different kind of training, and then some task-specific training as well. So there's plenty of examples like that, but don't think it's a very easy, rosy path, but yeah, management commitment is a challenge. We were very fortunate, you know, to have management fully supporting the implementation. People don't understand the risks, unfortunately. You know, they can't link, if I do this, it impacts public health, someone can get sick. The regulations definitely helps, right? Sometimes people are not saying, oh, regulators giving us a hard time. No, regulation does help. Yeah, so awareness important. Resourcing, and as I think few of the presenters talked about, not having, you know, enough money or resources, people. That's the challenge. One of the most important things is avoid complacency. You think, oh, we'll be right? And that's really sometimes that can create massive incidents that with public health impacts, right? These type of incidents even happen in Australia, right? So don't think it happens only in other places. If you are complacent, if you think, oh, water safety plans there, I'll be right, and then all of a sudden something happens. Audits, I'll just touch on the audits because we have a quite different philosophy, I believe, matured philosophy, I'd say, so it's different. We have 4 lines of defense. The most important one to me is what our staff does. They're not auditors. They have compliance officers. They're out there all the time, making sure that the assets are designed, constructed, operated, maintained according to our specifications, our standards. That's the first line. That's the best audit because you know your system better than anybody else, right? Yes, then we do some second line of defense audits, internal audits. Third line of defense, certification audit because we are HACCP certified to HACCP international standards. Then our regulator says all the Victorian water utilities must do audits. No choice, right? And so, for example, Philips company, now I'm advertising you, right? You can't just pick an auditor. It has to be a certified auditor. It's gone through difficult hoops to become a certified auditor. So, and there you go. So, and we do those every 2 years, right? If you pass the audit every 2 years, if you are non-compliant, if you fail the audit, big deal. Your reputation is on the line. Yes, that's Ontario. I shouldn't forget my colleagues up in Canada. They do something very similar. So again, and we talked about, a few others talked about audits, right? We all do the right thing, but audits add value, you know. We try to use the audits to really drive continuous improvement, not find fault. I go and audit my laboratory, which is an external third-party certified accredited laboratory. I go and audit them. But when I audit them, they don't feel intimidated because we're looking for improvements. So there's few little tricks with that. Yeah, so this is...
You should be finishing.
Sure. No, this is probably the last one. Now, you might wonder what's wrong with that photo, right? I'm showing this photo just to demonstrate that missing barbed wire, just that can fail our audit. This is in a tank site, right? So it's a storage tank. You can't see the tank there, but that one can result in a non-compliant safe drinking water audit. And you can see how serious the auditors take this. Yeah, so now this is, I couldn't get the photo of the 4th person, but these are my colleagues. What I want to also very quickly say is nothing better than trying to talk to your colleagues outside your organization. And I just accidentally came across Laith, and then we built this relationship. Now we are sharing, right? As I think someone mentioned, you never stop learning, right? We've been implementing water safety plans from 1999. I still learn, right? So if anyone says, oh, I know how to do it, that's not true. And continuous improvements, right? It's just like continuous improvements. You learn until you die, right? Sorry, I've gone a little bit over, but I'll blame Philip for that, right? Thank you very much.